Hey everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this mini-series I'll be talking through our weekend trip to Disneyland Paris in March 2024. This wasn't a trip we'd originally intended to do, but we managed to squeeze in a weekend visit to join our family who were there for the week. Although it was only a short trip, we're fortunate enough to have visited Disneyland Paris many times before as a family, so know it well and always have a fantastic time. In our last two videos, I talked through our trip as well as different accommodation and travel options, along with an overview of the Walt Disney Studios park. In this video, I'm going to talk through the main Disneyland park, including what we managed to cover during our short trip. For us, this park is usually where we spend most of our time when we visit Disneyland Paris. It's what we consider the main park, with the castle and all of the classic rides, the equivalent of Magic Kingdom in Orlando. On this trip we actually spent more time in the Walt Disney Studios park as we wanted to take in the Avengers campus, but for any other trip this is probably the park where you'll spend the most time, and it could easily warrant 3 days or more to take everything in. The park follows the classic Disney hub and spoke layout, entering down Main Street with the castle in front of you, then 4 lands spread out around the rest of the park: Frontierland, Adventureland, Fantasyland and Discoveryland. The entrance to the park is underneath the beautiful Disneyland Hotel, and then the Disneyland Railroad Main Street station. You walk out into Main Street Square with a gazebo in the centre where you'll sometimes find characters to meet, and where there's a great photo opportunity with Sleeping Beauty's castle at the other end of Main Street. On your left is City Hall if you need any assistance, bathrooms and a store, and also a character meet spot, which was Winnie the Pooh on this occasion. On the other side of the square is the stroller rental and a few more shops. From the square you can take a horse-drawn streetcar down Main Street, you can walk down Main Street itself, or you can walk down the arcades which run down the back of the stores. These are undercover and are a great option if the weather's really bad. Down Main Street itself you've got all of your usual shops: the Emporium, a candy shop, coffee shop, ice cream parlour, bakery and several other shops, so you can find almost anything you could want down here. You've also got some other dining options: Casey's Corner, which we've tried on a past trip and weren't that impressed with the Paris iteration of this, Victoria's Home Style Restaurant, Walt's Restaurant and Plaza Gardens Restaurant. This is where you'll find one of the character meals in the park. We've done this before and our family tried it on this trip and loved it. They enjoyed a breakfast buffet with Pinocchio, Geppetto, Captain Hook and Smee, and this is definitely worth trying out if you want to meet some characters. Just outside of here is a lovely garden area and fountain, just off the main hub, and nearby you'll find the champagne cart, where you can enjoy a glass of champagne. A top tip here though is that you can buy exactly the same champagne in the sports bar in the Disney Village for €5 cheaper at €15. So I guess you're paying a premium to get the castle view with your drink when you buy it in the park. On the opposite side near Casey's is a little hidden pathway undercover, which is a nice shortcut to Frontierland, so keep a lookout for this. Onto the Central Plaza. This is the spot for your classic castle photos, and there are currently some cool character and film statues dotted around for you to take in. This is the best spot to come back later in the evening for the nightly fireworks and drone show. This was one of our priorities this trip, and we really loved the drone show. We've not seen anything like this at any of the other Disney parks, so make sure to stay up and take this one in during your trip. Inside the castle itself, there are a couple of attractions to enjoy. In the main entrance you've got a great Christmas shop on the right hand side. Upstairs is the Galerie de la Belle au Bois Dormant, which is a lovely walkthrough of the story of Sleeping Beauty. Underneath the castle, look for the entrance down to the left, is La Tanière du Dragon, where you can visit the dragon's lair under the castle. This is a cool little addition, but be warned, it can be scary for very little ones. Out at the back of the castle, you can try to pull the sword from the stone, and then you're into Fantasyland. Straight in front of you, past the sword in the stone, is the first ride in this land, the carousel. On your right hand side is another shop, an auberge de cendrillon, a princess character meal which we've done several times with the kids. It is pricey, but the food is really good quality, although it's maybe not the best menu for little ones. You usually meet around 3 princesses plus some of the mice from Cinderella. If you've got young kids who love princesses, then this meal is a must-do. On your left hand side is again another shop first of all, and then 2 family dark rides, Blanche Neige et les Sept Nains, or the Snow White ride, and Les Voyages de Pinocchio, or the Pinocchio ride. Both are classic Disney dark rides telling the story of each film and are fun for the kids, although they can be a little bit scary for really young ones. Carry on around are a shop and a quick service restaurant, or Chalet de la Marionnette, before you reach the entrance to Adventureland. Staying in Fantasyland, over the bridge opposite here is one of the most popular rides in the park, Peter Pan's Flight. This one always gets massive queues, so head here early or get a Premier Access Pass. There are various packages on offer where you can pay for different packages of Fast Pass, or you can pay for an individual ride, and it lets you get on without having to join the main queue. We bought this pass a couple of times during our weekend, which I talked about in our last vlog, and I'll touch on later as well. Next to Peter Pan's Flight is Dumbo the Flying Elephant, the classic Disney Dumbo ride and a family favourite. And at the very back here is the railroad station and your best opportunity to meet Mickey Mouse himself. Carrying on through the land, you pass Alice's Curious Labyrinth, a fun maze filled with photo opportunities, and then the Mad Hatter's Teacups. This is where you can often meet characters from Alice in Wonderland, such as the Queen of Hearts, who is always really fun. From here you can turn left to a little area right at the back of the park with 2 fun rides, Casey Jr. Le Petit Train de Cirque, a nice kiddie coaster themed around Casey Jr., and Le Pays de Contes de Fées, a family fun boat ride through many different fairy tale scenes. Alternatively, turn right and carry on through the Princess Pavilion where you can meet your favourite princesses, although the queues here can get really long. And then you're on to It's a Small World. Past the It's a Small World boat ride, there's a pathway which takes you into the back of Discoveryland, and this is also where the parade begins. There's also a couple of dining options here as you make your way around to the front of Discoveryland, past the stage on the right hand side where there are sometimes character shows to enjoy. Fantasyland is also where you can get the famous Mickey Mouse shaped pizzas in the pizzeria Bella Notte. Moving into Discoveryland, you'll pass a shop on the left hand side before you reach the first ride of this land, Buzz Lightyear Laser Blast. This is one of the favourites here and it's great fun zapping all of the targets. This is another one that can get pretty busy, so get here early. Opposite this is Orbitron, a fun ride but not one we usually bother with as the queues can be long for what is really a fairly basic ride. And then you have Cafe Hyperion. This is a really useful spot to get some food. It's got your usual burgers and chips with loads of seating, and it's really handy in bad weather, and we've sheltered here several times over the years. There is a stage in here too where they sometimes put on performances at different times of the year. Out the back of the cafe is Star Tours, a staple for us whenever we visit, a fun Star Wars simulator ride. You'll often find the queues here aren't too bad, and we walked on with no wait later on a Saturday, which is usually a really busy day. If you're here earlier in the day, you can meet some of your favourite Star Wars characters next door at the Starport as well. The centrepiece of the land is Hyperspace Mountain, and one of the most popular and best rides at Disneyland Paris. Be warned, this is a far more intense ride than Space Mountain in Florida or California, and it's more akin to Rock and Roller Coaster. It's an over-the-shoulder restrained, high-speed roller coaster in the dark. We love it, but it's not for everyone. We found the queue here wasn't too bad. It was only around 30 minutes, so we managed to get on without paying for a Premier Access pass this time. Finally, in Discoveryland, you've got Autopia, a fun chance for kids to drive their own car around a track, and Le Mystery du Nautilus, a fun little walkthrough if you've got the time, but definitely not one that's a must-see. Moving over to the other side of the park, there's Frontierland and Adventureland. Frontierland contains one of our favourite rides, Big Thunder Mountain. This is also, in our opinion, the best version of this ride, with it being faster and longer than the versions in California and Florida. The queues here do get long, so on our last day we paid for a Premier Access pass, coming in at €64 for the four of us. Certainly not cheap, but we thought it was worth it when we were so tight on time. Before you get here though, you enter Frontierland from the Central Plaza through an impressive fort that you can explore and climb if you want. Immediately in front of you, you'll see Big Thunder Mountain, and this is a really good spot for a photo. Turning left, you pass the Lucky Nugget Saloon and a few other good dining options. There are then two other attractions down here, Thunder Mesa Riverboat and a headline attraction, Phantom Manor. This is the family-friendly haunted house. It's the version of the Haunted Mansion in the US parks, and it's loads of fun, but unfortunately this was shut while we were here this time. Moving back around to Big Thunder, you'll pass the shooting gallery, the entrance to Big Thunder, and the Coco themed restaurant, Puente del Oro restaurant, which we tried on this trip and enjoyed some nachos and churros here. At the end of the path, you can bear right into Adventureland or left around to the final section of Frontierland, which has the Cowboy Cookout barbecue restaurant, a playground, the railroad station, and the Frontierland Theatre, which again periodically has shows or events on. The final land of the park is Adventureland, which for us is the best themed area of the park. Disneyland Paris is known for being beautiful and its brilliant theming and attention to detail, but this is really where it comes into its own. The area nearest the Central Plaza and the entry to the land has a bit of an Aladdin theme to it, with Le Passage Enchanté d'Aladdin, a little walkthrough of the classic story. There's also Agrabah Cafe, a couple of shops, and a character meet in this area where we've often seen Jafar or the Genie. Moving off to the left, you can loop around into Frontierland or you can carry on through Adventureland. First off, you pass the restaurant Hakuna Matata, which we really enjoyed last time we visited, and it's a really good value stop. Then you've got the Indiana Jones Adventure Outpost, Colonel Harty's Outpost Restaurant, and if you keep going, you reach Indiana Jones and the Temple of Pearl, a big roller coaster that's a load of fun, but it does shake you about a bit, so it's not one we usually ride. The queues here tend to be quite short though, so it's a good one to get on. On the way around, you might spot a character or two. We saw Chip and Dale meeting as we were wandering around. Crossing over the bridge, look out for Carl Fredricksen and Russell from Up, fishing in the river, a lovely little addition and a great photo opportunity. This area of the park is where the landscaping and theming goes into overdrive with loads of little pathways and hidden areas. There's La Cabana Robinson or the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, Adventure Isle which you can explore at your leisure, and the Pirate Galleon and Pirate Beach for the kids to blow off some steam. There's a great recreation of Skull Rock from Peter Pan here too, another great photo opportunity. On our way past we spotted Captain Jack Sparrow out here, and you can also meet Captain Hook and Smee as well. The top end of Adventureland is very much a pirate themed area, home to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, which is a must do, and we managed to get on with quite a short queue. There's also a pirate themed shop and Captain Jack's Restaurant de Pirates, which overlooks the ride. We've never actually tried this, although we've always wanted to, but our family really enjoyed it, so it's definitely worth a try. So that wraps up our overview of the Disneyland Park. We only really spent half a day plus a couple of hours on the Sunday here, but still got most of the headline attractions done, plus a few others. It's an amazing and beautiful park, and we always have a great time here. This was only a quick trip to join our family for the weekend, but we came away wishing we'd had longer, and I'm sure we'll try and book a longer trip back again soon. So that wraps up this mini Disneyland Paris series, but we've got lots more videos to come this year, so please make sure to subscribe to the channel to catch everything we have planned. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or any other tips, then please just let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching.